for her today. So we're so happy to have you to join us for Mornings with GWC season number 2. So we hope you have your favorite cup of coffee, tea, or your delicious smoothie or hot chocolate or whatever you need on this rainy, dreary day. So we want you to sit back, relax, and for the next 30 minutes, listen in as we bring you great information from our special guests. We're going to go over our top 10 countdown of resources to grow your business and that wonderful, wonderful raffle where one of our viewers in the audience will win a Macy's gift card. Yes, a Macy's gift card. And you got to be present to win, so make sure you stay tuned. So we ask that you please follow us on social media. And so now for the raffle, you have to make sure that you leave your name, your company, and your email in the Q&A chat for a chance to win. So some of you have already started to do it. So make sure you drop your name, your company, and your email in the chat and stick around to the end, and one WBE will win. So we want to make sure that you follow us on social media. For Facebook and LinkedIn, we're at Greater Women's Business Council. And on Twitter, we're at GWBC Live. So pull your phone out, guys. And if you're not following us, make sure that you follow us so that you can keep up with all of the happenings at GWBC. So we want to thank our sponsor for today, which is AGCO Corporation, and they are our premier sponsor. And so without further ado and further delay, let's introduce our very special guest today. It is Megan Weiland. Yay! So Megan finds ways to increase transparency and drive efficiencies in the manufacturing environment. She's a senior manager, purchasing, performance, and sustainability at AGCO Corporation. Did you guys know that that is the third largest manufacturer of agricultural equipment? Well, if you didn't, you're going to find out more about it today. So, in line with AGCO's purpose to find farmer focused solutions to sustainably feed our world, Megan created and manages the Supplier Diversity Organization and pushes sustainability initiatives into the global supply chain. That is impressive, Megan, and I can't wait to hear so much more about it. She also holds responsibility for driving savings initiative with the global supply base and leads the annual budgeting process for the purchasing and materials function. So Megan's expertise in the purchasing and finance world brings together great opportunities for big data transparency to drive actionable and measurable change within organizations. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but Megan's going to break it down for us, so stay tuned. So prior to Megan's move to corporate America, she served as a Peace Corps volunteer in Central Asia. So Megan, thank you so much for serving. She is now based in Atlanta area and heavily involved in the community, volunteering through a variety of city committees, serving as a children's soccer coach, and enjoys playing tennis. And she is a mother of 2. So hopefully we'll be able to hear a little bit about how the pandemic has affected her as a wife and a mom. So everybody, let's welcome Megan and give her a virtual round of applause.
Thank you, Tia Renee.
All right. All right. I don't see those hands clapping. Let's see those hands clapping. Yay! All right, Megan. So we're going to jump right into it and we're going to break down some of the things that we talked about in our introduction. And the first topic is going to be thought leadership. And so, Megan, please share with us how you, the supplier diversity and procurement teams at AGCO Corporation are managing now that we are approximately 16 months through COVID-19. And if your organization has had to pivot, you can share that with us as well.
Of course. I mean, it's hard to think, hearing your question, that it's been 16 months, right? Mm-hmm. It both feels like it's been forever and then not quite that long. We certainly have had to do a lot of pivoting, right, to have a successful 2020 and then gearing up for a successful 2021 as well. You know, on a personal level, to Renee, you mentioned that I'm a mother of 2, so I have a 2- and 5-year-old. If you rewind back 16 months ago, my 2-year-old was pretty young when this all was starting. So we had a lot of uncertainty as it related to how was business going to go with AGCO, how was the manufacturing world, the agricultural world going to go with all of these shutdowns around the world. And then on a personal level, having these 2 kids at home, my husband works full time and I work full time. You know, it was a hard bit right in the beginning. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that, whether you had young children or older children, like, holy cow, it was a challenge.
Yes.
AGCO is a great place to work. And I say that, having been there for 8 years, but AGCO really adapted well at the beginning of COVID, so that we were able to have a very successful year. One way where we maybe had an advantage is we are a global company. And so when things started getting concerning in China, we took a lot of quick steps to do the best we could to keep our manufacturing up and running in China.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing all the problems that were potentially happening in China made us very prepared as we looked at the rest of the world and thought, hey, from a risk management perspective, what if this expands out of China and moves throughout the rest of the world?
Mm-hmm.
Our supply chain, and particularly our materials management organization, really did a major risk analysis to understand where all our suppliers were, what the restrictions were based upon COVID for all of these in a variety of countries or geographies, so that we, kind of knew what the problems were or could guess where some problem areas might be. For example, if we have a manufacturing facility in northern Italy, and that was, again, rewinding in time, one of the major outbreak places initially a year ago, and we had to figure out what suppliers do we have there and what can we do to buy some material in advance and hold that inventory for fear that those manufacturing sites might need to shut down, or where might we be able to pull those same parts from other suppliers that we have around the world. Particularly in Europe, we had some time period where our manufacturing sites were shut down. And that was a period of great uncertainty for AGCO. The majority of our sales come from Europe. Hearing that one of our major sites was going to be shut down for a month, there's a level internally where you say, okay, well, I hope AGCO is going to have enough money to get us through this. And some maybe personal concerns about your job. What are we going to be doing, to make sure that everyone can keep their job? But as it turns out, our organization, our materials management and supply chain organization, worked really hard. So our manufacturing facilities in Europe were shut down for only about a month.
Okay.
Which was much faster, and we got back online much quicker than any of our competitors, and were able to secure supply and open our facilities again. And so it was a really big success story for AGCO. We actually had a great year with a period of uncertainty, obviously, at the beginning. And there is a lot of pent-up demand with commodity prices rising around the world, and we're gearing up. We had a great first quarter and are, poised to have a really excellent 2021 as well. So with a lot of uncertainty in the beginning, our global team worked together and fought to get that supply. And we managed to have a really successful year. And obviously there's still a lot of uncertainty around the world. I mentioned Europe. We also have a really heavy presence in Brazil. We source a lot from India. So we have these items on our radar, right, of areas of concern still related to COVID. But really have fought through and worked long hours to make sure that our plants and manufacturing sites could stay open for as long as possible.
Okay, good. So you said
but we did it.
Good. You said a lot. So we're going to dissect and pull back the layers. But before I do that, I would like for you all, WBEs, to drop in the chat just kind of the experiences that you had in juggling your business and juggling your personal life and family. I think that is always so important to talk about the personal side of the business side or the personal side of your job. So drop in the chat and tell us how it was with juggling in the pandemic, post-pandemic, with family as well as your business. And Megan, in dissecting it a little bit so that we can apply, or the WBEs can apply some of the lessons learned in the supply chain in their business, what advice would you give to WBEs in reference to building a strong supply chain?
Yeah, I think, we're learning as we go, right? So AGCO, we are the world's, like you mentioned in the introduction, we're the world's third largest manufacturer of agricultural equipment.
Mm-hmm.
We own a number of brands. So it's not that you're going to see a tractor out on a farm that has that AGCO logo on the side, but we own brands like Fendt, Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Valtra. We have grain and protein, GSI, which is a grain and storage and some protein production equipment. And with all of those brands, we have to make sure that all of them are able to be up and running. And so what we are working on, right, there are some instances where we might buy a part and we might buy that part from only one supplier all around the world. So in this hypothetical example, we're buying from a supplier in Germany, and that supplier is supplying all of our sites, regardless of where we're manufacturing it. There's a benefit to that, right? Because we have higher volumes and can get a better price, but there's also an associated risk, because what if that facility gets shut down, right? What do we do? It really kind of can impact our facilities. And so when you're thinking about the critical suppliers in your supply chain, if there's not a, kind of balancing that cost, I would suggest thinking about dual sourcing in those particular high risk areas where you might say, I'm buying 75% this item from the less expensive supplier, but I'm going to buy 25% from a higher cost supplier just so I keep my options open in this period of uncertainty, right? When we're not sure what's going to be going on. So that's something I think, you would want to be thinking about. And then my second piece of advice when you're trying to have a strong, resilient supply chain is transparency. And that's so you as the customer, you want to be really clear to your supplier what you see coming down the pipeline. But also you would expect your supplier to be transparent back to you whenever there's a problem or a potential problem. And so if you keep that line of communication open, typically you can work with your supplier to make to find the best solution in an uncomfortable time.
Awesome. So I have a question for you that I'm going to ask. I'm going to give you a minute to think about it because I just want to read some of the comments. When AGCO is looking for suppliers now, post-pandemic, I know having a resilient supply chain is very important, but what are 3 of the top things that you guys are looking for in suppliers that you want to bring into your supply chain, or suppliers that you want to help them to scale as far as giving them more business? So I'll give you a second to think about that. And so some of the comments that we have, and I always think that it's amazing for women to share with other women business owners the things that they're going through, because oftentimes we feel like we're in it by ourselves. So let's see what we have in the chat. So Cheryl said, the most difficult piece of the thing on the business front was reassuring clients to continue to move forward instead of completely contracting and freezing. And so I know a lot of people or a lot of WBEs can think about that because a lot of contracts were placed on hold just because people did not know. Beth said, family is fine. Inventory, pricing, and suppliers expecting us to outlay monies more and more earlier than before. And of course, a lot of payment terms change from net 30, 60, or 90 to net 120. So guys, you see that it's so many other people that are experiencing this as well. Angela says that for me, the juggling was most focused on business. Pre-COVID, most of my business was done on the road and in person. Redoing all of my workshops, speaking, etc. It had to go to a virtual world. And it also meant all of my booked business had been shut down, canceled, and got the opportunity to grow in new ways. So Angela, hopefully it was a great pivot for you and that you learned a lot. And Pam said, I was fortunate that my kids were older because I know that virtual schooling, Megan, which we talked about, Megan was like, I'm so glad. What'd you say about your daughter being in pre-K?
I'm so glad. I have a daughter who's in pre-K and was born in October. I've never been so grateful she wasn't born 2 months earlier.
Exactly. Because then you would have had to do with homework and worksheets and all that. And so Pam said that she was constantly looking for food and better bandwidth. And I applaud those parents juggling it. Absolutely. And Sanjeev said, Sanjeev has a question. It says, Megan, for you, has AGCO considered support in India and Brazil sourcing process? And their company, which is Ambi Engineering, has offices in both locations along with Detroit. Just a thought.
Yeah, well, we source from all around the world. We manufacture in several sites or several different manufacturing locations in Brazil. So we have we have multiple sourcing offices and a large purchasing team that's going out and trying to find the right suppliers in Brazil and really in all of South America, but it's Brazil focused just based upon our manufacturing and Brazil's focus on localization. In India, we're undergoing a sourcing transition where historically we've been working with a partner to help us source, but we are starting to do more of that sourcing on our own and are setting that up. Obviously, COVID has made that more challenging than it might have otherwise been. But those are areas that, huge opportunity in terms of, the technology, the expertise in those two countries, no question.
Okay, perfect. And then Debbie said all of our employees were healthy. Absolutely great. And fortunately, we've been able to keep everyone employed. We are a manufacturer of industrial product identification, and our biggest problem has been cost increase. And I know that was something, Megan, that we had talked about from our suppliers in attempting not to pass those increases on to our customers. So thank you, everybody, for sharing. And Crystal said to you, Megan, she loves your comment about how full transparency is key to supply chain resiliency. And Sajeev says we can help you with local resources for supplier development and supplier management. Okay, so Megan, do you want us to just tell us quickly what are those things that you look for new suppliers coming in to the supply chain?
I can, and I'm gonna take a small detour because of one of the comments that you mentioned about the shift of meeting with a supplier or a customer face to face right now, right? I hesitate to say this because then you guys will think about how I'm communicating with you right now. But we, through our leadership group and our top sourcers, we put everyone through a virtual communications training, right? To say, what should you be doing, right? How can you simplify your slides? Make sure, for example, that you're centered in the camera. Make sure when you're talking that you're not looking at yourself on the screen, but rather you're looking at the camera. And it's some really small, easy tips, but I could see certainly for myself and then for my coworkers that made a really big difference, that you can be a much stronger communicator, and paying for a virtual training like that was really valuable for AGCO, I would say. So I would suggest, because this could go on a little bit longer, that might be a valuable investment for your team to do. But when we're looking at new suppliers for AGCO, what we would like to know, so number one, we want to make sure they understand our business, right? So maybe if you've already worked with another heavy industrial manufacturing customer before, or even better, if you've worked with ag, that gives us an additional level of comfort. A second thing that we're really looking for when it comes to new suppliers is we want that, I'm harking back on that transparency conversation, right? That we want to make sure that we're being transparent, right? We're extending our forecast. We want to let you as a supplier know what our plan is for the next 12 months, 24 months.
Okay, so how do I get the voice on here?
That was Judy, we muted. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, but we want to also make sure that you guys are being transparent with us, particularly on the direct material side, right? And that means if we're buying a bearing or
it's unmuted,
we want to make sure that we understand your costs and see if we might be able to help you in any way. But right, cost transparency is a really important aspect for us. And the third, and this is a hard one for smaller businesses, I know, but it's a geographic scale, right? So if you have the scale to supply one of our manufacturing sites, we might be interested, right, as a secondary supplier. But the more of our manufacturing sites that you can touch and be cost competitive at, that's the better for us, because really our dream is not to have 10 suppliers for a single part, but maybe have 1, 2, maximum 3, so that way we're giving you good volumes, right, with our multi-brand approach.
So I hope that you guys got that nugget on working with AGCO, because it's very, very valuable, important that you know how to do business with the company that you're going to work with. So Megan, you have been dropping some jewels for us. And so on a personal note, I want you to share, what is your favorite quote? We want to know what your favorite quote is, what motivates you.
Yeah, I put a lot of thought into this one, and thankfully you guys gave me some time to prepare. You mentioned in the introduction, I'm a tennis player, and I say that as I was a tennis player as a kid, and in the last 2 years I've picked it up, and living in Atlanta, there's a huge tennis community, and so I really this is where this comes from. But the quote is actually from Billie Jean King, who was a famous, very good tennis player, I think back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. She from Billie Jean King, she says, champions keep playing until they get it right. And what I'm grateful for, at AGCO is, as I have learned, we're a big company, but with an entrepreneurial spirit. We're not that old. And so we're encouraged to try new things, be visionary, try something new, see if you can make an improvement. If it doesn't work, quit it and move on to the next idea. And that is, I presume, is what you guys do on your day-to-day lives with your businesses, is you try something. If it doesn't work, try something else, right? That's the only way we all can get through it. Big company, large, small company. I think this is really apropos for this conversation.
You are absolutely right. And as CEOs and women business owners, we have to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying until we find what works, and then even refining and retooling what we're doing. So ladies and those special gentlemen that are on the call as well, you just heard it straight from Megan, one of our thought leaders in the industry and big supporters of GWBC. So thank you, Megan, for taking out the time for your busy schedule. AGCO Corporation continues to be a champion of GWBC, and we're going to ask you to stick around so that you can announce who the winner is for our raffle Macy's gift card. So everybody, let's give a huge virtual round of applause. Round of applause. Yay! All right, up next, guys, is our top 10 countdown of resources just for you, WBEs, because we want to make sure that you have the resources that you need to grow and scale your business. So hopefully your coffee or your tea is still warm and your smoothie is still cool. Let's get ready for top 10. So after hearing some of the innovative experience that AGCO used during COVID, we wanted to share with you some resources that were related to their success that you can incorporate in your own business. So we realize that you may be doing some of these things already, but it's always good just for a reminder. So number 10 is going to be risk management. And so the SBA has a great article on the most common risk for small businesses, how to monitor them and how to evaluate them. So it doesn't matter the size of your business, you want to make sure that you have a risk.
Yeah, T. Renee, I think we have lost you, or you have frozen.
Oh, okay. Hey everyone, this is Sherelle from GWBC. So until T. Renee comes back, sometimes technology is not on our side, but that's okay. We're just gonna kind of keep things rolling. So number 10, risk management. The SBA definitely has a good article on this information. And again, as a reminder, this program is recorded. So you will have access to these links. You will have access to this presentation so that you can take advantage of all these tips that we're giving you in the top 10. Okay. So for number 9, a crisis plan. We all need this in our portfolio, especially after COVID. So make sure you take advantage of this link and of this article. And if you don't have a crisis plan, definitely make sure that you have one, because it's just tomorrow's not promised. Uncertainty is definitely, is definitely something that, can hit us at any time. And COVID definitely proves that. So number 8, backup plan in the cloud. Check out the top backup solutions for your business. Just like I was saying before, technology is not always on our side. So you need to make sure that you have your things on the back end, in the cloud, on a hard drive, anything like that. Make sure you have all of your documents and things backed up so that you don't have so that anybody that asks you for a certain document or something, you do have full, you can grab that at any time. All right. Logistics. Do you have a logistics plan? You will all understand why you should have this plan when you hear the number 2 resource. So sometimes, with these countdowns, there's a method to our madness. So make sure you take advantage of this link. A safety plan. Businesses cannot efficiently operate without one. If COVID has not showed us that, I don't know what else is. So make sure that you, in this article, might have some key ways that you can really get a safety plan for your business going forward. negotiating tips. The SBA definitely has some of these key negotiating on how to get better deals for your business, especially when dealing with other small businesses and large corporations. Social media forecasting, definitely following the trends. What is happening on social media? A lot of people will just post, but what is really happening right now? You don't want to be in the back end of social media. You want to be in the front. So make sure that you're following the trends, when it comes to marketing strategies and things like that. Transportation and logistic laws to move products or services. I'm pretty sure this is something that Megan knows a lot about in her industry. So, make sure you take advantage of that resource as well. Okay, so here we go from number 7. Here's what we were talking about in number 2. Read this great article on how AGCO was able to navigate and become innovative during the pandemic on a global scale. This is from Forbes, so that's a big deal for AGCO to be in Forbes. Forbes is the big dogs. So make sure you take advantage of that and seeing exactly what happens on a global scale. And last but not least, GWBC Radio Open for Business. This is for all of our WBEs. Please, please, please sign up for our GWBC radio show. This is a great way to get visibility for your business. Our dynamic host, T. Renee, was actually one of the first WBEs to be on this show. We get thousands of streams. We've had hundreds of WBEs already on the show. And this started in 2019 and it's still growing and growing and growing as of 2021. And we do hope that you will really take the chance to take advantage of this opportunity. It is amazing publicity and visibility for your business. So make sure you go to www.gwbcradio.com. And this way you can see some new episodes and you're able to sign up. There are open slots for this month and then months coming forward. So make sure that you take advantage of this opportunity. I think our host T. Renee is back. Are you there, T. Renee?
So guys, it is a tornado in our area and everything just went black. So this is actually technology and how it happens. So I want to thank you for Sherelle for stepping in. And I don't know where we are. Are we on the raffle? Where are we, Sherelle? I'm sorry.
We just wrapped up on number 1. I'm just kind of taking advantage of GWBC Radio. And I was telling our guests how you were one of the first WBEs to take advantage of this opportunity. I believe it was at the end of 2019 or the beginning of 2020 when everything happened with COVID. But I do remember that episode and it's actually still up. So if you want to get a great example of this opportunity, go ahead and find T. Renee's episode. She was talking about her business, things that she's learned. The pros and the cons of being a business owner. It's really, really great. So make sure you take advantage and, follow her footsteps and definitely get visibility for your business.
And I also want to tell you that several corporations reached out after the video. And so, after the interview, and I got business from it. So I want to make sure that it's an opportunity, number 1, to talk about your business, what you do, but also to create relationships. So Sherelle, did we do the raffle yet?
No, we are getting ready to get there right now. So
perfect. If you can tell me who the winner is, my chat and everything else went out, so I don't have access to it. But I wanted to thank you guys before we announced the raffle. You were very interactive in posting your questions and posting your comments. And so if there are any final questions that you have, just post it in the chat. And the reason why we like to have the interactivity is because we know as a women business owner, sometimes it gets tough, sometimes it gets lonely, and we feel like we are sometimes the only ones in our circle or the only ones that are going through things. But as you saw, even with Megan and all of the other WBEs, we're all in the trenches working to continue to grow our business and grow and scale after the post-pandemic. All right, guys. So drum roll.
All right, our raffle winner today is Cheryl Guinerio of Green. Are you there, Cheryl? You are the great winner of our $25 Macy's gift card. Congratulations. Let me know if you're there, Cheryl.
Cheryl, are you here?
She just chatted.
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Awesome. Congratulations, Cheryl.
Now,
Thank you.
Don't spend all of your money in one place, okay? Don't spend all that $25 in one place. All right, girl, guys. So we want to thank you so much for sticking with us with the technology trouble, and we thank you, Cheryl, for jumping in. Megan, thank you so much for your knowledge. I would encourage all of the WBEs to go back, fine tune your virtual skills, and really make sure that you're presenting yourself in the best light to corporations that you want to work with. So we enjoyed this time with you, and we could not have done this without our sponsor, our premier sponsor, AGCO. And we thank you for being a supporter of Greater Women's Business Council. And we look forward to seeing you at our next mornings with GWBC. And our special guest will be Celine Connell. She is a compliance manager of Prime Retail Services and a new corporate member of GWBC. Yay! We love that we're expanding our corporate membership. So please register now as you'll learn what opportunities are available in the retail industry. So if you're looking to get in the retail industry, this is important for you. And we also want you to remember to register for our upcoming quarterly Power of Partnering Marketplace. And that will be held on June 30th from 8:15 a.m. to 12 noon. This event will have key business information during the general sessions and matchmaking opportunities. So register early for a chance to win a complimentary recertification. And so that fee is valued at $350 for 2020. So if it's time for you to recertify and re-up, you want to make sure that you register. So GWBC brings you weekly information of news that you can use in our weekly newsletter and our webinar. So the newsletters are power-packed with information. So make sure that you don't put us in spam jail, and make sure that you read through it. It has all opportunities, excuse me, for grants and upcoming events. And I personally, through reading the newsletter, was one of the recipients for the Wells Fargo grant, and also received a scholarship through Bank of America for training. So make sure that you read the newsletters and you apply for all of these opportunities. All right, guys. So we want to make sure that you follow with us and that you're connected on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We love to hear from you. We love to hear your feedback, your comments, as well as your suggestions. You guys are outspoken women business owners, so we love to hear from you. And so until next time, we encourage you to have a wonderful and a successful week. We want you to network with your other fellow WBEs, because in addition to working with corporations, we believe in business to business and helping each other to grow. So stay healthy, stay safe, and most importantly, stay strong. So we'll see you next time on GWBC Mornings. Bye, guys. Happy Mother's Day to all of those mothers out there. Make sure that you love on your mother, and then make sure that your kids love on you. Be safe in this rain. If there's a tornado watch, make sure your computers are plugged into the surge protector, okay? Bye, guys. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Renee.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Megan. You did awesome.